Is Joe here tonight?
No.
Good evening. This is the City Council workshop. Today's date is February the 9th, and I will turn it over to Mr. Sweeterman.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll go ahead and get started as normal with the agenda review. And Steve, if you want to put the PowerPoint up so that the mayor can copy down who's doing which resolution.
Yep.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll start with if there are any questions on agenda items from tonight's agenda. All right, I'm not seeing any. Pretty straightforward agenda this evening, and Your Honor, you now have who's doing which agenda items. The first item that just want to go through with you on the next screen, Steve, is just kind of a reminder of what we had discussed at the last workshops. Make sure we're still on the same page in regards to in-person council meetings. We are planning to be in person on March 9th, which essentially means that the meetings will be open for the public to attend. We'll keep our regular start time, 6 o'clock workshop in the Deeds room in the lower level of the Government Center. Take a slight break, and then we'll come upstairs to the council chambers for 7:35 start time for the council meeting. The meeting will obviously be on channel 6. We are planning, unless I get a head nod from the mayor that tells me otherwise, or from Mary, we're planning on the State of the City for March 9th. And then we also have a Citizen Life Safety Award for March 9th as well. So any objections from anyone going back to in-person council meeting, first meeting in March? All right, a lot of head shakings no, so I guess we're okay there.
Yeah, we have the option to not come if something comes up though, right?
Yeah, if you prefer to do by
Right.
phone or by Zoom, just give us a call ahead of time. We'll get that set up. And that'll kind of be the hybrid situation.
Yeah.
I will tell you that we're planning, excuse me, to do State of the City, the first meeting in June. So that's providing
in March.
I'm just going to wait till June. First meeting in March, providing Don's voice holds out to do 2 hours of taping. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I do have a question on the workshop starting March 9th. Are you going to have, I'll call it reserved seating for a lack of a better term, but will you, just in case we have more than 1 or 2 extra folks, will you have a spillover area or something like that that might be needed?
Well, the spillover area that we would use at that time, we'll have additional seats in the Deeds room for a few people.
Yeah, right. That's
and I will continue to limit staff at
Okay.
the workshop so that we make sure we have some space.
Do it that way. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Steve, next slide. All right, we have a short video for you this evening that the police department put together, and this is in regards to our crisis intervention specialist. You may remember that we had a grant from Adamus that allowed us to hire a social worker that works full-time for our police department now and assist in handling specific type of needs and requests from our citizens. And we've had some social media on this, and we have just a brief interview with the crisis intervention specialist, and then we're going to lengthen that interview, if you will, or lengthen the video, and we'll kick that back out on social media as well. But just wanted to give you a chance to meet our newest employee through an interview type process in the police department. So, Carl, I think we're turning it over to you now or Mary to play that video.
So I'm here with Nicole Fairburn. She's our crisis intervention specialist, Kettering Police Department. We absolutely love having you here.
Thank you.
It's so far worked out, I think, great, and I know you've been staying very busy.
If you could turn it up, that'd be great.
Can't hear.
What we were hoping to achieve. The first one was to help our officers become better efficient at handling these type of calls, mental health issues or drug substance abuse issues.
Turn your iPad volume up, Bruce.
Turn your volume up, please.
It's all the way up.
We're going out to the same house with the same issue, helping provide treatment in lieu of arrest, which would be really key, and then improving that interaction between the police department and our citizens. So I know it's kind of early on since you just started in January, but can you just say maybe a little bit about yourself and we can talk about how things have been going?
Yes, thank you. So my background is in social work, and I come from crisis. In my background, I did rape crisis advocacy before, and I also have some time being a therapist as well with people who suffer from mental health and addiction issues. So those things kind of come together for me for this position. And I also wanted to be able to go to people rather than waiting for them to come to me. Something important about sort of striking while the iron's hot, so to say, when people are in crisis and they can meet me and then I call them later and they say, oh, I remember you from the other night, and starting to build rapport with people. So in terms of my background, that fits pretty well with the social work values and the social work field.
So January is kind of when you really kicked off
Yes.
handling calls, and
Yep.
so you've had a chance to go out with some officers, and it seems like, because since we work in the same office here, you stay pretty busy.
Yeah.
So they're able to
absolutely.
just kind of see if you're in, and if
Yep.
you're able, it seems like you just, like this morning, you literally ran out on a call
Yeah,
and was
Yeah.
able to kind of help facilitate whatever solution happened.
absolutely, yes.
Good. And how's it been going as far as, taking the calls, getting to know the officers? Have they been able to kind of approach you and say, hey, look, here's what I've got? Okay.
Yeah, everyone has been extremely welcoming, extremely open to this position. And so it's been very nice to get to know everybody, and like I said, everybody's been very welcoming and they're very open to this position to connect the people they serve every day.
All right, I think that's obviously the end of the video. Looked like from head shaking. Some of you may not have been able to hear that. We will get a link to that video to you so you can watch that at your leisure, and you'll be able to hear it. And then, like I said, a portion of that video, along with some enhancements, will be in a separate social media post, and we'll make sure you're made aware of when that social media post goes out as well. All indications are that is working fine. The new position and been very valuable to us, and we'll continue to keep you updated on how that's working. So, any questions on the crisis intervention?
Yeah.
The chief be keeping data on the type of situations Nicole's involved. I know we don't want names, obviously, but
Sure.
the type or the profile of the situation she's involved with, and even possibility of how those were resolved. It's a grant now, but somewhere down the road, grants are soft, and somewhere down the road, the question may be asked, do we fund it? And it'd be nice
Sure.
to have not someone's opinion, but some data as best we could on the value of that.
Yeah, Bill, I'll tell you, I haven't specifically talked to the chief about what data we're keeping, but we keep data in the police department. So I'm certain there will be data, and then it is a grant and there'll be data required as well for that. So as we get through some of that process, I'll share that with you, and you can kind of see what types of calls are going on. And, as she, or maybe you didn't hear, as she mentioned in that interview, but she comes into work and, a call comes in, and next thing you know, she's out on a call. So we'll be collecting that type of data and what that relates to and how it's working with our residents and with our police force. So we'll certainly keep you up to date. and push some data your way once we have some.
Mark, I have a kind of two questions, I guess. This is the kind of police programming that, has been called for throughout the summer, not to defund police, but add services. How many communities in our area are engaged in this kind of practice? And that's number one. And number two, if we are, and I think we're kind of maybe a little ahead of the curve on some of this, are we planning to do more than just local social media or maybe a local newspaper article? I mean, this to me is something for a high municipal league or even on a broader scale. I saw it somewhere. I saw it was in a publication you sent us, Mark. I mean, that's good stuff. It's good stuff for the city, and I'm just saying it ought to be out there as widely as we can.
Sure. Yeah, it's obviously good stuff. And so to give you some examples, we have the Ohio City Managers Association newsletter.
That's where I saw it. Okay.
The police department has already done interviews with the Dayton Daily News. There was an online story in that regard. There was a TV station locally that did some coverage. So we'll continue to push it out there. This all started really back in 19 when we started talking to Adamus about a grant opportunity. So
Right.
It's been going on for quite some time. Locally, the only one I can speak to, Bruce, is the city of Dayton has also hired a social worker, I believe from Eastway, if I remember correctly. So they have also implemented a similar program. I have not talked to directly the other suburban cities about this, but we'll keep pushing it out there.
It may be something eventually for National League of Cities or something like that. I mean, it's a good program. We ought to really be talking about it.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Mark, and maybe this question for Mary. Why do we not see that in written form? I mean, all we had to read all summer was police brutality and police not doing things, this, that, and the other. Yet the only thing is their online type thing rather than a hard print type thing. Is there a reason why they just don't want to cover that, or it's a good thing and they don't want to give any credit for good things, or what?
Yeah, I guess I'll speak a little bit for Mary here, and she can interject if she'd like. But we send the stories out and they cover them, and as you know, our reporter doesn't dictate what shows up in the paper. So he did an online story, and it may still be slated for paper. But at this point, I'm not aware that that particular article made it to the hard print. And Mary, correct me, please, if I'm wrong.
It has not made it to print yet. The reporter wants to wait to get feedback from other cities who have implemented it. But Mayor Patterson's article will be in City Page this Saturday about this very situation. So.
Okay. Thank you.
And hopefully we'll get you in our reporter's article as well.
Hey, Steve, could you put up who, what? I missed one here. So could you put that up real quick?
Hold on a second. Try it again. Okay, can you see it now?
Okay, I didn't miss it. It's not up there. Who has number 4?
You're right.
That would be Steve. Sorry about that.
No problem. I wrote them down the way they are up there, and I'm like, well, who the hell has 4? Okay, thank
I'm glad you asked, because I wasn't sure either.
Keep you on your toes.
All right, thanks.
All right, Steve, you want to go back to the next slide?
Okay.
One more.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So public records request. This just to let you know, we received our annual public records request from the Dayton Daily News for our 2020 salaries. So, or, payroll numbers. So we have submitted that to them. And then, as you know from a previous experience, we also include that database on our website. And this being an odd numbered year, we also have included the council salaries in the first edition of Contact with Kettering pursuant to the charter. So that has already occurred. And then shortly prior to, I believe it's April 15th, we have to send the citywide postcard out with salary information on it as well. So just kind of want to make you aware that those things are in the work. And if you get any in the works, and if you have any questions or concerns or any, residents, I would suggest directing them to our website. We have the financial transparency page there that will give them the complete data set for those issues. So any questions on that? Just wanted to mention that that's out there.
Mark, what does it cost to send out that postcard?
It was roughly, the last time we calculated, almost $6,000.
I think we should put a bumper sticker on there. I mean, seriously, I'm sure, is this one of the things that's part of the charter?
That was one of the changes.
Yeah, so it's a charter requirement.
So even though we alert all of our residents through multiple other communication means, it was very prescriptive that we had to use the postcard.
Yeah, that's correct. And it's also very prescriptive about the data that we put on that mailing. So we're unable to put any other explanation or data on that card.
Copy.
Hey, Mark, did you say the Dayton Daily News sent you a public records request for that?
They send us a request every year for the year-end total compensation for all employees. Yep. And then they put a database together. Okay. It also ends up in the Dayton Business Journal as well sometimes. Yeah. But both of them entities usually do that request. We've just, to my knowledge, we've only received the Dayton Daily News at this point.
Yeah, but it's, the postcard is not in response to Dayton Daily News sending you a public record request.
No, that is the charter requirement.
Yeah, right.
As is the council salaries in Contact with Kettering. Just a quick update on the Kevin Jones building on Wilmington Pike. Kevin Jones Insurance, that's one of our Wilmington Pike projects. And I'm sure you've noticed all winter they've been working diligently on that building. The pace of that has really picked up. When I checked on the status last week, they had about 5 weeks until completion. So about a month out now for completion of that building. Our regular COVID-19 update now. And I have a note here, cases down internally. And I put this slide together on Friday. I am happy to report that for the last 2 days, we have 0 positive cases of COVID-19 to report. And I knock on wood every time I say that. Hopefully that will continue. Our fire vaccinations will continue in the month of February. That is the second shot for our fire staff. And it looks like they'll be completed in mid-February. And then on Friday, your packet, and I apologize for that, but your packet had a lot of things in it on Friday. But one of the things we had in there was a presentation from the Public Health Department. And they met with the city managers group last week. And they are now going to meet with us every month to kind of give us an update. So I wanted to share with you kind of the public update that they're utilizing right now. And if they update that at each month with us, we'll continue to send that to you. Any questions on our COVID-19 plan at this point? All right, Steve, we'll go to the next.
Mark, I got a question. Where are we with
the
police? Where are we with the police and vaccinations?
Sure. The police department is not yet a special section of the vaccination program. So at this point, police officers will be vaccinated based upon their age, like everybody else in the organization. If that changes, it will change, and I'll let you know. But at this point, it has not. The governor has put the emphasis on those in the older age groups and nursing homes based upon mortality percentages. So we're following those guidelines. We do have a few police officers who have been vaccinated. It has been based upon the fact that they have agreed to work at the vaccination site downtown. And when they do that, they are vaccinated. So we do have a few folks that have been vaccinated, but not the police department in its entirety at this point. And that may change. I mean, at some point with the supply of vaccinations, the governor may say, okay, let's get public safety vaccinated. And then, of course, we'll make arrangements for that. But at this point, it is simply if they work a detail that requires it, or if they are of a certain age. Next item I wanted to talk to you about is what's called the Faro scanner. And this is an item that our members on the MVCC board, I'm sure, are aware of. But this is a scanner that was recommended for purchase by the Tactical Crime Suppression Unit. And they will be utilizing forfeiture funds to purchase this roughly $50,000 unit. It will be on the, it has been on the agenda for MVCC and will be purchased here shortly. It's as the description indicates, kind of a 3D laser scanner. And the best way I can describe this to you is kind of a handheld scanning device that if a community in the TCSU operation has a particularly difficult accident or an incident for evidence collection, the scanner will be called out and utilized on scene. And this will really enhance our capabilities and certainly not to replace the capabilities that we utilize from BCI, but to augment it so that if we have a situation where in the past we might call out BCI if they're available for specific situations, now we'll be able to use this Faro scanner for that. And again, it'll be an MVCC Tactical Crime Suppression Unit tool, not under the control of the city of Kettering, but certainly at our disposal when our officers or our chief feel that we could benefit from that device for a particular incident. So just wanted to kind of make you aware of that.
Mark, how does something like that work? I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, so it's technology, and basically
that's why I don't get it.
It's a handheld scanner that looks like I should have put a picture in your presentation, but it looks like almost like a spotlight, a handheld spotlight. Yeah. And you would hold that and scan the area. So consider yourself outside at a Dorothy Lane and Stroop, and there's a major car accident.
Okay.
Scan all the data points of that accident and the intersection, and then upload that scan to the computer, and there would be thousands of data points. So it would pick up where the light pole is, where the trash can is, maybe where the glass debris is from the accident.
Okay.
All of that stuff in one scan to facilitate our detectives and anyone looking at the accident.
Okay, thanks. That really helps then.
Yep, sir.
Bruce, just ask one of your grandkids.
They know. They know.
I think we could all say that, right? The last item I have for you is the Phrase Pavilion. I know I gave you a document to kind of explain where we're at on that. We're moving forward under the intentions that there will be a season of some sort, and we have the capability to modify depending upon where the social distancing and capacity requirements are. At this point, we're looking at a July 1st start date. And again, we'll be nimble and flexible. But part of being nimble and flexible is we've started the process of job postings for staffing the facility and things of that nature. So any questions on anything that we've talked about so far in the workshop? Because our next item of business would be to move forward to an executive session.
Okay, is there a motion to enter into executive session under section 121.06K of the codified ordinances for the purposes of property matters, economic development, and negotiation with organizations or individuals.
So moved.
Second.
LaShawna, if you'd take the roll, call the roll, please.
I don't
Oh,
think
is
she's
LaShawna?
on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're in executive session. Mark.